Good evening friends. How are you? Hope you had a great day. In the previous lecture we had discussed about physical world and we had also discussed the definition of science. What was that? Let us just recap. Science is a systematic attempt or organized knowledge to understand the natural phenomena in as much detail as possible so that we can use that knowledge to predict, to modify and control those natural phenomena. We had also understood why each word in the definition is important. Now, the scientists have been following a particular process which has some interconnected steps. That process is called scientific process. So let us look at what is scientific process, scientific method. Scientific method. To study the nature, there are several interconnected steps involved. Collectively, these steps are known as scientific method. समझते हैं, what is scientific method? What are the steps? The steps are systematic observations, controlled experiments, reasoning, which can be either qualitative reasoning or quantitative reasoning. Then we have mathematical modeling, prediction and falsification or verification. These are the steps which are involved in any scientific experiment. Let us try to understand the steps in detail. The very first step is systematic observation. See, anything starts with the observation. Now, observation is somewhat more than seeing. If I tell you, whatever I am saying right now, you are hearing to that. Now if I ask you to take a pause and listen to the sounds around you. Just take a pause of 10 seconds. See, before 10 seconds you were hearing to something. But when I asked you to pause, at that time you were trying to listen to something. So there is a difference between hearing and listening. In the same way, there is a difference between seeing something, merely seeing something and observing. So it were the scientists who were able to observe the phenomena occurring surrounding them. Let us take a wonderful example. We all know about Sir Isaac Newton, who had found out the law of gravitation. Now before he found out the law of gravitation, there was this popular story that he was sitting beneath the tree and he observed the apple falling below the tree. Now he observed, see, there were so many people before Sir Isaac Newton who might have seen that apple, but nobody thought, why is the apple falling down and why is it not going in the upward direction? Now that is the difference between just seeing something and observing something. So Newton initially did an observation. Now on the basis of these observations, there is some hypothesis formed to explain that phenomena. Second thing, controlled experiments. What are controlled experiments? See, whatever phenomena was observed that might have occurred just by chance. Now scientists try to recreate that entire phenomena in the same manner under the same circumstances, and they do this for multiple times. That is called as a controlled experiments. They try to control certain parameters and they also try to vary certain parameters. And they try to understand what are the parameters that are affecting that phenomena. For example, for the falling apple, there could have been multiple quantities responsible. Out of those n number of quantities, Newton finally came down to these quantities. He explained that the phenomena was occurring because of a quantity called force, and that force he found was proportional to the masses of the objects, multiplication of the masses, and the force was also inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the masses. See, from mere observation he conducted some experiments, and from those experiments he was able to derive and come to this relationship. Now in this relationship these are the quantities involved. So they belong to the reasoning part, qualitative reasoning as well as quantitative reasoning. What are the qualities that affect the phenomena, what are the quantities that affect, in what quantities these qualities affect those phenomena. The next step comes is mathematical modeling. See, there can be a hypothesis which can be proven either true or wrong. Now, scientists generally try to derive a mathematical equation which is nothing but, which is called a mathematical modeling of that particular scientific experiment. Okay, for example, here Sir Isaac Newton didn't stop here. He gave this equation, F is equal to G m1 m2 upon r square, where G, all of you might know, is known as the universal constant of gravity, gravitational constant. The next step of scientific process is known as prediction. See, this prediction part was also there yesterday when we had discussed about the definition of science. We use this science and the laws found to predict the things. Let us understand this thing little bit in details. How can we predict the things? Once Newton found this law, every time you need not conduct this experiment again and again. If I am asking you that what happens when you go on the top of a building and when you drop an apple or when you drop an object, what will happen? You will be able to predict using this law that because of the gravitational force, that apple or this pen will always go in the downward direction. That will happen because of the gravitational force acting between this object and the earth. You know the mass of the earth, mass of this object and the distance between them. So you actually need not go there. You can, just by sitting in the room, you can predict what is going to be the result of that phenomena. In physics, in upcoming chapters, you will also learn about some equations of motion. Using those equations, you can derive the velocity, acceleration, displacement, or you can as well say the trajectory of the object. How can you do so? You can just calculate the things. You can just use the laws which are already given by some of the great scientists. Equations can be used and you can predict what is going to be the outcome of that phenomena. The last step is falsification or verification of the formula that we have got in the mathematical modeling part. So, in chapter number 14, which is waves, you will learn about two theories, two short notes. One of them is Newton said that the velocity of sound is given by the formula under root p by rho. And he thought that this process was an isothermal process, isothermal, where the temperature remains constant. But then there was a scientist, Mr. Laplace, who gave another law, who corrected this formula. He said that the process was actually not isothermal, it was an adiabatic process. Adiabatic process, which means that there is no exchange of heat taking place, and he corrected the formula slightly. He said that the formula for velocity of sound is not actually p by rho, but it is gamma p upon rho, where gamma is 1.41. It is the ratio of Cp and Cv. These quantities you will learn in the upcoming chapters. Okay, so the formula that was given by Sir Isaac Newton for velocity of sound was actually falsified, or rather we can say verified, by Mr. Laplace. So these are the steps involved in any scientific experiment. So that's how we can get different laws. Once we have got these laws, we can design the devices or equipments using those laws, using those equations, and those devices or equipments can be of use to us. They can help us in making our life quality better. Now, coming to physics. What is physics? The definition of physics is very simple. Different definitions are given in different reference books, but this one is my personal favorite. Physics is the study of time, matter and energy. Time, matter and energy. Now matter and energy. Energy is also called radiation, matter and energy. See, people say that the universe is made up of these two things. Universe is made up of these two things. Which are the two things? Matter. Matter is something that can be touched, that can be smelled, that has some mass and some other properties. Everything that you see around you is actually matter. What is energy? Energy cannot be touched, cannot be smelled, but you can experience the indirect effect of energy. For example, if there is an increase in the heat, you will feel the change of heat by experiencing a higher temperature or raised temperature. So energy and matter, these two things are combinedly forming the universe. What is left now? The third factor can be told as time which is continuously flowing when the other events are occurring. So the study of matter, energy and time, or you can say the study of the entire universe, is a part of physics. It belongs to the scope of physics. So that is physics. As I told you yesterday, it is very interesting subject, and in our upcoming lecture we will look at physics in more and more details. We will learn about various theories. We will also look at the numericals from our textbook as well as from various reference books. Thank you very much.